What's cracking, crypto tubers? It's Jimmy J, aka Cryptographic, back with another update on the crypto space for all you people out there. It's been a couple of days since I uploaded a video. A couple of big things happening. Firstly, I sold all my Monero yesterday because I needed the money for another trade. And look at this, it's jumping up again. We're sitting at 3.2 million sats, $140 for Monero, my favorite privacy coin. So it's good to finally see it getting a bit of the love it deserves. It literally is the best privacy coin. It is the most anonymous coin. For anyone that's not into Monero, I recommend you join me in waiting for the next dip and get your hands on some for sure. But this video is about something else. This video, I've been looking for a while now and doing a bit of study and trying to work out. I had Neo about a month ago. I told you guys to get on Neo, and Neo's jumped, and I think it's good to see the awareness is finally growing about Neo. A lot more people are hearing about it. A lot more people are realizing the value in Neo and that it's a very good investment. It's been a little bit quiet for a little while. There hasn't been too much news coming out of them, but I really do believe that once the ICOs start and once the platform starts getting utilized a little bit more, that Neo's definitely going to be up at around the $200 mark before we know it. So still a good hold. Still a great time to grab some Neo right now. I'm trying to think, what are we at? So we're at 900k sats right now. Back under $40. It's a great time to get in. There's no telling whether it might even sink a little bit more, but I would get in sooner rather than later if you can. I believe Neo is going to start going up again by the end of the month. They've been working a lot with Microsoft and stuff like that. So definitely one to get a hold of while you have the opportunity, while it's down a bit lower. But today I want to talk about what I believe is one of, if not the most undervalued cryptocurrency out there today. So I'm actually, this currency excites me so much that I'm considering really simplifying my portfolio. I hold about 8 coins now in my portfolio, and I'm considering bringing that down to probably just the 4. Probably Bitcoin, Monero, Neo, and this particular coin that I'm about to talk to you about. And that being said, I'm considering also putting a very large portion of my portfolio into this coin. So right now, I keep about 60% of my money in Bitcoin. And I'm considering maybe bringing it down possibly to 30% Bitcoin and 30% this coin that I'm about to talk about. And so without leaving you waiting for the whole video to hear the coin at the end, we'll drop it right now. This coin is IOTA. IOTA. For those of you who don't know, IOTA is probably the most revolutionary coin that we have in the cryptocurrency space right now. And the reason for that is, in a time where the world is only just starting to hear about blockchain, because of Bitcoin and Satoshi Nakamoto, the idea of blockchain and blockchain technology has been brought to the world, and it's starting to gain traction, and not quite yet mainstream, but it's certainly started on its way to becoming a mainstream technology. So most of you will know, and just bear with me for those of you that do know, but the idea of a blockchain is this, right? You have in a proof of work blockchain like Bitcoin, the original blockchain, you have, every time you send a transaction, your transaction is broadcast out to the network, out to all the peers and all the nodes on the network. And because we are not saying it's John Smith sending $10 to Jimmy J, we're saying it's an encrypted wallet address sending $10 to another encrypted wallet address. It becomes very hard to validate the transaction, and it becomes very hard to confirm whether John Smith had the $10 in the first place to send to Jimmy J. So this is where you then have the entry of a hashing algorithm. So Bitcoin uses the SHA-256 algorithm. So what this hashing algorithm does, the one that, all the miners, the Bitcoin miners that we all hear about, they use this hashing algorithm, and their ASICs, their application-specific integrated circuits, spend all day hashing with this algorithm, and they confirm and validate these transactions, and then they encrypt that data and string it together in a block of transactions that are then put into the blockchain. So the blockchain is a group of a uniform size blocks that have each transaction in there referring to the transaction before it, and then at the last transaction of each block, the first transaction of each block refers then to the last transaction of the last block. And it's all relatively uniform and sort of clean, right? So before you have a block mined, before that block is confirmed, the transaction cannot be confirmed, and that's why we have our when you send a Bitcoin transaction and you see it impending rather quickly, but you often can have to wait for quite a long time before the block is actually mined, before your transaction is confirmed. So one of the main problems that we're getting with the blockchain and all these other cryptocurrencies that are improving on it in many ways, and bringing many different ways to speed up the process and streamline it a little bit. But a problem that you have with this is scaling. Yeah, this is one of the main problems, is that as there are more and more people coming in, we're seeing, especially with Bitcoin, that's the whole reason for this recent fork stuff with the Bitcoin Cash and all that, is that there was a serious debate about how we should scale the blockchain, whether you should do it on-chain or off-chain and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, that's not the point of this video. We're not going to get into that right now. But IOTA has come along, and they have, instead of taking the blockchain, which Bitcoin created, and trying to improve on that blockchain, they've created something completely new and completely different and completely innovative. And so innovative, I think, that it's actually struggling to gain traction. I think people don't quite understand how it works. They kind of go, hold on, how is this possible? But what they've called it is the Tangle, right? It's not a blockchain, it's a Tangle. And the reason they've called it a Tangle is quite straightforward. When you look at an image of it, it is it's completely tangled up. Yeah, all these transactions are crossing over. It's not as uniform and clean as you would look at a diagram of a blockchain. But the differences with the Tangle are many, and they are all extremely innovative, and I'm incredibly excited looking at it and researching it and learning about it more and more. But one of the things about the Tangle is that it completely removes the centralized nature of something like Bitcoin, which you say, what? Centralized? Bitcoin is supposed to be decentralized. That's the whole point of all this. It's decentralized. We're taking away the power from the centralized banks and the centralized financial authorities. We're bringing the power back to the citizens and whatnot. But in reality, a lot of the power of the Bitcoin network, if not all of it, is in the hands of the miners. Those big farms in Iceland and factories in China where they've got cheap electricity and they've just got all these terahashes and petahashes of mining power. These guys, we're starting to realize, have a lot of power to change the network if they want to. I mean, one of them has completely forked to a new type of Bitcoin now, and just look at the impact that's had on the whole marketplace as a whole. So the reality, again, is that although Bitcoin was created as something that was supposed to be decentralized, it has become something that is becoming quite centralized, right? The Tangle is taking this centralized kind of flaw, if you will, and improving it in the sense that when you send a transaction out on the Tangle, your transaction has to confirm 2 previous transactions. So each user on the Tangle actually becomes a miner at the same time. You're not just a customer or a transaction, but you also become a miner, and everyone using the network contributes back into the network in this way. So what this means is that not only have they already achieved, I think it was over 400 transactions a second, which was not even a test of how far they could go. That was just an optimization test. They haven't pushed the Tangle to the level that, to try and see exactly how far it can go. But so far what we've seen out of it is that where with something like Bitcoin, when you have when more people use the network, or even with Ethereum, when there's more people coming onto the network, it congests the network, it slows down transaction times, it increases fees. It's completely the opposite with IOTA. The more people start using the network, the quicker it becomes, the more secure the network becomes. So, look, to be honest, my mind is blown that there aren't more people raving about IOTA. I mean, I know there are a few people out there that have mentioned it, but if you ask me, IOTA is, in my opinion, the next Neo, the next Bitcoin, the next Ethereum. I think this is actually really the next generation of cryptocurrency already. And that might be why they are not as popular or not as well known amongst the general public as maybe some of the other cryptocurrencies. But in this world, it's always the innovators. It's always the people that bend the rules and change our understanding of how something should be done. Those are the ones who end up improving these things vastly and taking them to the next level. So I think it's amazing that in a time where we're only just getting used to cryptocurrency, that IOTA has already blown everything we know about the blockchain out of the water and improved it so crazily. So the thing about the IOTA is that it's created for the Internet of Things. Yeah. The Internet of Things being any kind of product or appliance. As we know, as we go forward, more and more of our even just household appliances are actually becoming connected to the internet. They actually have IP addresses. Yeah. And one of the original ideas for IOTA is that it can become something that can facilitate nano payments or micro payments and enable you to rent out any device that's connected to the internet, and receive payments, whether you want to charge by time or by however much you use the item or whatever. Anyway, a lot of people are going to have a few arguments with my claim that IOTA is undervalued. So I want to preemptively respond to what I think a couple of people are gonna say to me. So if we look at Neo right now, and we look at the circulating supply of coins, as always, the circulating supply of coins is one of the most important things we want to look at. How many of these coins are in circulation? How many more are being produced? At what rate are they being produced? Blah, blah, blah. So if we look at something like Neo, which is just shut up, as we all know, because I haven't shut up about it, but Neo currently has 50 million coins in circulating supply, with a total supply of 100 million coins, right? And then we come over to IOTA, and we see that IOTA already has a bit over 2.7 billion coins in circulation, right? And you might say to me, 2.7 billion versus Neo's 50 million, how does that even equate? How can IOTA be undervalued with so many damn coins, right? Usually, I would tell you you're correct. If the coins supply is that large, then it's probably not something you should look at as having a possibility of jumping up too much in price anytime soon. With IOTA, it's different. And I want to look at an example just to give you a bit of an idea of how it's different, right? The IOTA system is only just getting off the ground, but mark my words, over the next year or two, it will continue to be adopted by many, many industries around the world whose business is in renting out machines or renting out even just, let's take like the parking industry, right? How much is the parking industry worth in the US? Let's just look at the US, right? Not even the whole world. So if you type that into Google, it will tell you that parking revenue in the US is projected to grow by $4 billion in the next 2 years, according to a report released Wednesday. The National Parking Association estimates that revenue from parking will increase from $25 billion last year. So it was $25 billion worth of revenue last year in the parking industry alone, just in the US. We're not even talking worldwide here, just the US. $25 billion last year to nearly $29 billion by next year, by 2018. All right, so $29 billion in the parking industry, right? All of a sudden, if we have a look at IOTA and the circulating supply of these coins, we see that again, it's 2.7 billion coins circulating of IOTA. You don't even need to name any of the thousands of other industries where this technology is applicable. Even looking only at the parking industry, if we were to say if IOTA was to get the lion's share of work in the parking industry, if people wanted to automate their parking systems to have some kind of system where it automatically charged you by the second with IOTA, how long you wanted to park there, even if they were only to take 50% of this industry, that would still be 12.5 billion last year and 14.5 billion next year. So let's have a look and imagine what the influx of 6 times the circulating supply of coins. We've got 2.7 billion coins circulating. Let's just say they get half the parking industry in the US, which I think is completely plausible. That will be 6 times the circulating supply of coins flowing into the capital, the market cap of IOTA, right? So for this reason, I can't tell you when exactly, but I believe that IOTA in the next couple of years is going to significantly grow in price. And personally, I'm considering IOTA as being one of the main coins that I do my weekly investing into. And I want to give it a larger amount of my portfolio. So I encourage you guys to do your own research and look into IOTA. I'm going to leave a link down in the description for Bitfinex. If you don't have an account at Bitfinex, you can buy IOTA there. One of the shortfalls of it is that it's not listed on many exchanges yet. But again, I see this as a plus. Because what happens when it drops in Bittrex or when it drops in Binance or any of these other exchanges? That's going to shoot the price up as well. So guys, it is a bargain right now at 83 US cents to get on board. Do I need to refresh this page? Is that price still current? 90 US cents. An absolute bargain, and I would highly recommend that you get on board with IOTA and put some money into it if you can. Thanks for listening, guys. As always, chuck me a like, chuck me a subscribe. And look, if you want to support me, the best way is to click through any of my links down there if you need any of the things like Ledger Nano S or to sign up with any of the sites down below. Genesis Mining has recently sold out of its Bitcoin contracts just before I was about to buy more Bitcoin terahashes, so the next best option for you before they also sell out is Hashflare. I don't know if any of you guys know about that. Hashflare is the second best option for cloud mining. So now that Genesis has sold out, I think Hashflare is going to be selling out pretty fast too. So there's also a link for that down in the description. Please chuck me a like, chuck me a subscribe. If you don't like it, chuck me a don't like, chuck me a comment, and we can have a discussion about why you're such an asshole. All right? Anyway, Jimmy J, Cryptographic. Speak to you guys soon. Cheers. Bye.